some of the tactics that the enemy uses. We looked at those. Just real quick, we're going to review. We looked at the futility of our thinking, how our thinking begins to be eroded away. That leads to a darkening of our understanding, and we actually begin to internalize the lies of the enemy, which leads to a hardening of our hearts and a loss of sensitivity. Things that once moved us and we would be drawn to no longer move us, and we begin to draw away. And then that leads finally to an immersion into what the Bible calls sensuality and impurity. The thoughts of evil are pervasive, which leads to that type of behavior. And this is not like a one-time, oh, I'm in it and that's it. It's a spiral, because sensuality and impurity lead to further futility of thinking, which leads to further darkening of understanding and more hardening of the heart and loss of sensitivity, which leads to further. So if you could just imagine the downward spiral that is there. And that eventually ends in spiritual destruction.
In your name I come alive to declare your victory. The resurrected King is resurrecting me.
We mentioned that the enemy works in lies. John 8:44 says this, as Jesus is taking on the teachers of the law and the Pharisees. He says this, in their defense, they're like, we're Abraham's children. And he says, you belong to your father, the devil. You want to carry out your father's desires. He was a murderer from the beginning, not holding to the truth, for there is no truth in him. And when he lies, he speaks his native language, because he was a liar from the beginning and the father of all lies. That's where the enemy operates. He operates in lies. And we've all heard, or the adage is there, that the best lie is full of truth. And so one small little thing of lie can then begin the erosion process in our minds, begins that movement towards futility of thinking. Some of the common areas that the enemy works in, some of the common lies that people believe, is shame. You know, shame is one of those things that a lot of times people get guilt and shame mixed up. Shame is that belief and emotions that go with it that say, I will always be what I've done. I can never be anything beyond what I have done. And that leads down to a path of darkened understanding that says, I will always do what I've done, be what I've done, therefore I might as well continue on. As opposed to guilt that is, oh, look what I've done, that when God grants that and sees that, He grants repentance that leads us back to Him.